Hello, sweetie. This is our reaction to Season 11, Episode 1 of Doctor Who, The Woman Who Fell to Earth. So hang on to your TARDIS. You've just joined Super Geeks.
Hello, everyone. This is George joining me for this special reaction. It's not really an episode, it's a special because we are reacting to Jodi Whittaker, her new Doctor Who episode, Season 11, like Son said, Episode 1 of Doctor Who, The Woman Who Fell to Earth. And how are you doing today, son?
Me? I'm pretty sure that was River's song, not me.
Well, you were representing Cinderella.
What? No, I was no. Me? I'm not River Song. Psh, get out of here.
You know, just like there's Doctor Who, there's River Who? And there's River Dance, but that's another thing altogether. Anyways,
There,
so
I said this a while ago, but I think it bears repeating on recording. There are actually a lot of people who legitimately consider River Song their doctor.
it's funny that you mention that because I'm old enough to remember when I started with Tom Baker back in the PBS days in the late 70s, early 80s, and he
Hmm.
had a companion Ramona, who was his he married the second Ramona, Lala Ward, and Tom Baker did, and so and she was a Time Lord or Time Lady, and the funny part was that back then she was his equal, and then in the that was classic Who. In today's world, I would agree that River Song is the equivalent of, except well, unless you want to count the Dr. Donna, which is pretty close, pretty close. But other than that, yeah, River Song.
I'll
I would
be
say
honest. I would say for the majority of Alex Kingston being River Song, she's been better than the Doctor because the Doctor's been like this bumbling buffoon.
I almost thought you said Alex Keaton, the character from Family Ties, played by Michael J. Fox.
No.
Sounds so similar, doesn't it? That's kind of weird. I
Hmm.
just noticed it as we were saying it.
That's why do you think I keep getting Alex and Alec mixed up?
Well, he was Alex too. You're thinking of someone
Yeah,
else. You're thinking of someone
yeah.
else that we have a common thing with a friend of
Hmm.
ours. But anyways,
Moving
it's just
on.
me and Son. Yeah, yeah, it's just me and Son today, not someone else. But the reason why I want to do this isn't technically a specific episode of Super Geeks. This is a reaction because tonight was a different normal situation. We are reacting to Jodie
The
Whittaker's first
premiere of Jodi Whittaker.
the
Hooray!
the premiere of the first female Doctor on Doctor Who. It's been anticipated for a very long time. It's been worried about and also cautiously optimistic. Not even that. It's a celebration of the fact that everything's changing now. But it's I don't know. Let me just start with this. I'm going to start with you, son, and just say, well, just in general, what did you? The episode title is called "The Woman Who Fell to Earth," and I'm going to warn
Nice
everybody
David Bowie reference, by the way.
and yeah, I know. Yeah, it is a David Bowie reference. But by the way, I just want to let everybody know, and I'm going to put it in the comment thing. This is technically going to be a semi-spoiler review. So if you haven't watched the episode yet, uh, pause our episode or bookmark it and then come back because we're
You
probably
should
going to end
definitely
up
put
spoiling
spoiler
something.
in the title card too when you put it
I'll
on.
spoil it. Yeah,
Uh,
I'll spoil it. I mean, you know what I mean. I'll put spoilers as a header so that people know it's, walk cautiously into this. But what'd you think, son?
I expected Torchwood to show up almost every minute of this
I
episode,
did too,
and
actually.
did not find Torchwood showing up, and that left me really confused about this episode.
They can't be everywhere. There's a small team now, I guess. Unit maybe, but Torchwood, I don't know.
Yeah, see, and that's the thing. The which Torchwood are we dealing with here? Are we dealing with are we dealing with a fragmented John Barrowman Torchwood, or are we dealing with the Peter Capaldi's remade Torchwood slash unit that is like the secret police of aliens again?
Well, here's what I interpret it as: is Chris Chibnall, sorry, the current showrunner. And by the way, goodbye, Moffat. You were good when you were good, and then thank you for leaving. Because
It's so nice to get rid of lies.
I mean, the whole direction. But I mean, the reason I brought him up first is that because of what you mentioned. So I think he wanted this to have a fresh start. He mentioned in interviews he didn't want to bring, and for the first season of Jodie, he didn't, or series as they call it in England, he didn't want them to have any returning stuff. He wanted this to be a fresh, you know, Jodie's season. There's no new if they want the Daleks to return, they have to show them at least once. That's the
Mm-hmm.
rule for the Terry Nation estate for the contract they have. So
Yeah.
we can expect something, even if it's just a video picture of a Dalek. But they're not actively going to be involved in this season. They got away with that a couple times in previous series during Matt Smith when they find a way to cleverly sort of show the Daleks without actually have them be in an
Well, I
actual
mean,
episode.
it was literally in his opening monologue, like against the big huge eye thing. It was a video of the Daleks on Earth.
That's true, but with this one, Chris Chibnall wanted Jodie to get a fresh slate. Now, I've seen a lot of friends of ours have commented, and they've had people say, I haven't watched Doctor Who since whoever, and do I have to go back? And they're worried about like how far they have to catch up. You don't have to catch up. That's what's great about Doctor Who. You can watch from Matt Smith's first episode, and you can just watch that. If you want to go backwards and see David Tennant's, that's fine too. But it's not going to hurt you at all. You're not going to be lost. You're not going to be confused. And it's the same thing with Jodie. With this first episode, are there some references to past things? I think I caught a couple, but you know what? It's pretty fresh. She explains everything you need to explain. She even explains why and how the sonic screwdriver works. Her version of it, which by the way was brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't need to explain it. It's a fresh start. You're learning about her character along with the audience. If they want to walk in and say they've heard about this show that's been on for 50 years and they love the fact that it's a first female doctor, they could just literally watch this first episode and Jodie practically.
It's not Gundam. You're not going to be lost hopping into this.
Not at all. In my opinion, I think that they're going to find that they're going to have a choice. They can watch this and they're going to hear some things that make them go, "Now I'm curious," and then they're going to, if they want to go back and watch Matt Smith and David Tennant and Christopher Eccleston and anybody else, then that's their choice. But you don't have to at all because so far from what I've seen, what I love about this first new episode is Jodie explains it without being sort of uh, she's not talking down to anybody. She's not being what's that word? She's
Grumpy old man.
that too, but she's just
You're
she's
going to be
just
my friend. Come along.
oh, I love that part when she with the character of Yaz, who's a police officer,
It's,
becomes one of the
it's
companions, and she says Yaz to my friends, and then at some point she says, "Oh, and Yaz, because you're my friend." I love that. That was an awesome line. The good writing, good
wow.
writing. That
This is
stuck out.
really stepping out there, huh? But I
Um,
mean, like most of the doctors have been like that. I mean, there was a
yeah, but it's
whole
different
season
coming
where
from her.
There was a whole season where Matt Smith was like, "Come along, pawn." It's like all authoritative and stuff. It's like, yeah, this is the classic Doctor Who kind of authoritativeness about being a companion slash friend.
Yeah, that's the thing, slash friend, because according to the interviews, Jodi has been very clear. They call them friends now. They're not, she doesn't say we don't call them companions, but it's pretty much the implication. I don't personally like that. I think they're going
I don't
to
think it's gonna. I don't think it's gonna hold any
not at
water.
all, not at all. No one's going to go. Oh, now we have to jump on the thing about calling them friends. That's it. Reminds me of that show with Matt LeBlanc and everybody in the '80s when they were sitting on the couch. So they're gonna make joke about that and like have her. No, I'm just kidding. But no, but I think that they're gonna call them companions. That's just a traditional. That's like saying Hoovian, or I mean not Hoovian. I'm sorry, Trekkie or Trekker. It's like that. It's like
Yeah.
I trying to challenge the audience to say what's the new term. Well, if you want to make a new catchphrase, I
Well,
just
the new term is STD, obviously.
yeah.
It's
Oh,
not disco like CBS wants. It's STD.
there's so many things I could say I loved about Jodie's performance, but the companion, no, screw it, the companions, the introduction of them before they even brought her to into the episode, they set up Ryan and Yaz and his Graham, his stepfather.
Oh God, that pisses me off so much.
Which part?
That we're not gonna get to see more of Graham, or we're not gonna get to see more of Gran. Excuse me.
What? He's a
No, not Graham. Gran. Ryan's
oh
Gran.
oh oh oh. I was actually surprised by that. I knew she wasn't a regular companion, but I didn't think she was gonna. Spoilers, in case nobody's watched the episode. I didn't think that was gonna happen. I wasn't
Yeah.
expecting that.
Come on. She's as fun loving and as carefree as a doctor can be, and I'm like, I want a companion that's like that, but damn it! Why do
Well,
they have to do that?
the reason why I wasn't expecting it is because at the time frame that it happened, I didn't see them having enough time to wrap up good writing for them to say we're getting over this situation. But then the way they skipped time, that worked. So therefore, that's why I'm going to say the writers are on point because it happened within the last 15 minutes of the episode, but yet I wasn't like I didn't think it was disingenuous for them to get over it because they did a time skip, and that's the only way you can do it. So therefore, that was the only reason why it worked. They gave it respect.
I mean, it did seem like it was the next day, though.
But
Not
it
like,
was the way they cut it. You knew it happened over time. There was a funeral. They were all sad. She
well,
stayed with them for a while before Oh God, I love Jodie as the Doctor. She's got that compassion that a woman. People can say, "Well, it doesn't matter if it's
oh
a
yeah,
man
no.
or a woman." It kind of does.
I really hated the clock. The not the 1 hour for a premiere thing. I mean, just the day night clock of this episode. I can't. I hate it because you have the majority of this episode takes place in what seems one night, a single evening,
Most of it,
and
yes.
all the time skipping happens during the day, making it seem like it's either the next day or a single day thereafter.
I'll agree with you. I absolutely love the creation of her Sonic. And also not just the creation of her Sonic, because she kept going, but then she realized, I could just make one myself. I thought that was very interesting the way they wrote that in, because it was like saying, I don't need, I'm a woman, but yeah, I can do this for myself.
Let's. I don't know how much this shatters the whole independent woman thing that a lot of people are going to go to for that, but uh, the 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 Forest of the Dead. There's literally a whole scene where Tennant is looking at a Sonic that a future he built for River Song, and it's like, why would I do that? Why would I build her my Sonic, or why would I
Pretty
give her my
innocent of
Sonic?
her
It's
to build
like,
them.
it's
Yeah.
like,
So
uh, okay, so she can build her own. Oh, okay, yeah, I understand that. Others have built their own too.
you know what? You actually just you sort of described some of the reasons some of the fans before Jodie was even considered saw some of the things with Doctor Who sort of sexist, and yeah, that's a fair argument because you just brought it up and it makes sense. But at the same time, the show changes showrunners and things change with time. I mean, look at back in the '60s. Now people sit now. I didn't like David Bradley's portrayal of the First Doctor. He was very sexist, and they made it seem like, oh, he's always been like that. No, not really, because if you actually watched the
Well,
actual,
well,
sorry,
yeah, I understand that they wanted to, but let's be honest. He may not have been like 100% sexist in the 60s, but he was a crusty ass, old
that's not the same thing,
asshole
though. This was
kind
back in
of
the
kind
'60s,
of person to just like everybody. Like
but
he
you got to
would
remember one
constantly
of the
talk down to
writers.
people.
But you got to remember, one of the writers, even though it was back in the '60s, was Verity Lambert. She was a woman, and she didn't. You could tell it.
Oh no, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is the modern portrayal is part of the modern portrayal of the first Doctor from that
Well, we've just
episode
seen that in the
was was written from the perspective of somebody who thought that the first Doctor was that way. That and we could go off on me doing the whole culture war, social justice agenda crap, but we won't. But it's somebody who was on the writing staff who thought the first Doctor was that way. And yeah, for a lot of shit, the Doctor was just an asshole to all of his companions and everybody else constantly because he was the superior mind, and just it wasn't sex. It wasn't sexist. It was him being an asshole.
that would be true, except for
I mean, I
we
honestly
never.
don't remember. I honestly don't ever remember the first Doctor going, "Go in the kitchen and make me a sandwich," or using any variation of that
He actually.
stereotype ever.
Oh my god! I can't believe you just said that because he did actually, and I'll tell you when he did it. When he was portrayed by Richard Herndon in the Five Doctors, he literally told Tegan in the TARDIS when he met the Fifth Doctor, "Can you go fetch us some tea and some sandwiches?" And she was like, "She's a wicked liberal or feminist, I mean." And she looked at the Fifth Doctor, and he was like, "Can you just humor him?" I mean, I'm paraphrasing.
Again, that is another person's portrayal and another writer's
Exactly. This is back
portrayal
in
of
the
the
80s.
first Doctor.
Exactly, exactly. They get the first Doctor wrong in both the. Oh my God, that's true. They get the first Doctor wrong in both the '80s and now the 2000s because the William Hartnell Doctor never said those kind of lines. I think they assumed it.
Well,
It's
see,
almost like the research
again,
department
this
didn't
this this is
pay
the this is.
attention.
It's not even that the human resources department wasn't paying attention. Look at the atmosphere of the '80s, women's liberation. What
She
was
went,
it?
"Hang on a minute, I remember this line." She
Like
Tegan went,
remove the
"Hang on a minute."
bra or something like that.
Susan had just gotten her leg hurt in the Five Doctors, and
Uh
she went
huh.
with her grandfather back in the TARDIS, and he met the Peter Davison Doctor and Tegan Jovanka, who was one of his, she's a very Australian feminist, great companion. But he says, "Yeah, why don't you make?" I'm paraphrasing. He says something along the lines of, "Can you make yourself useful, my dear, and get us some tea or something?" And she was like, "Hang on a minute," and I never forgot her saying that. And then she looks at the Fifth Doctor, and he was like, "Can you just humor me? I could be a great bit catchy, catchy." I think that was the word back. And she was like, and she walked off. But I mean, but my point is that you're right. It's the same idea. Like they misrepresented him.
But it's the same concept in two different feminist spaces almost.
So, before we get too far away from the point of this reaction, we're talking about Jodie, and but the reason why we're referencing this is because we're looking at the history and how far it's come. So we're looking at like the fact that the first Doctor, who was back in the '60s, but the show was written by a woman, Verity Lambert. So she was very like a progressive at the time, and she tried to slip all that in there, And the reason I think it got by a lot of the showrunners back then is because it was a science fiction show. But when you look at it today, the reinterpretation of it is, like Son and I just said, two different sort of sexist. If you're a writer now, they're not remembering it correctly. They're actually just taking clips or something and they're going, oh, he must have been sexist. And they're taking some examples. But I don't think that's correct. I don't think it's accurate. I don't think it's authentic. Because Jodi Whittaker is the uh, sort of the culmination of what should have been. Because the Doctor is an alien. Doesn't when they regenerate, they and it was even before it happened with Missy as the Master. There was never a reason for them to say it couldn't
You
happen.
did call that, by the way.
What was
You
that?
called that. You called that quite a while ago when we first were introduced to Capaldi and we had Missy. You called it right off the bat. This is them
Actually,
testing the waters for a female
I
Doctor
thought
Who.
it was the Doctor I thought she was a future Doctor. To be honest with you, I'll
Mm,
be honest. But I knew it was a female. It was either the Doctor or the Master, but I wasn't sure. It made sense that it was. The only reason I didn't think it was Master was because Missy equaling Master seemed too obvious. But apparently that was the misdirection. They went with. She even said
misdirection in plain sight.
it was the. It totally was because he even said, "Oh, how can you not notice it?" or whatever she said. She said, "Isn't it obvious? I couldn't for Missy, short for mistress. I couldn't call myself the master now, could I?" So that was like obvious, but yet, it was either one or the other. I just sensed that the BBC was testing, like you said earlier, that
Hmm.
they were testing things, and they were. I really think they were, and it worked. I mean, they were seeing how people would react to the fact that, look, if you're a Time Lord and you can do this, and this has always been the thing, you can become a woman, you can become a girl, you can become a dog. You can have two heads. Christopher Eccleston even said, I could have two heads or no heads. I don't know. It's
Hmm.
completely random. And people forget that they said these things. And then we have Romana, she tried on a blue skin alien body, she tried on a tall body, a short body. I mean, their physical appearance has nothing to do with anything.
Well,
It's
the
just a
reason
random thing.
well the reason I laughed is because if the Doctor turned into a dog, at least Canine would have a friend, right?
That's true. That's true. So, as far as the episode goes, story wise, I was impressed. I thought that the companions friends were introduced well. I liked all the characters that were involved. I think that Jodie showed empathy and she showed compassion. Now she said in interviews that she was channeling David Tennant more than anyone else, but also a little bit of Matt Smith. And
A lot of people saw the David Tennant for sure.
yeah, because she's good friends with him from Broadchurch and all that. But she did say some of Matt Smith was sprinkled in there, and you can see that. I think you can see that. Um, but at the end of the day, I love that speech she gave where she's talking about how it feels to change and then try to find your way, gravitate towards who you're going to become, and that it's scary but exciting at the same time. The acting and the writing were very on point in my opinion because David Tennant gave a speech in his final episode about what it's like to die. Jodie did the opposite, and I find that ironic too as I say this because she's reversing what David said in his final episode. She's saying how it is to live, how it is to become the Doctor, whereas David said what it's like to lose himself.
But
And I
is she
thought
reversing the polarity of the neutron
she
flow?
is totally reversing the polarity of the neutron zone minus a penis. I'm sorry, Brett. She lost her Sonic too, so she had to build a new one. I'm sorry, I can make so many jokes about this.
At first I didn't understand what the hell was going on because you had this cracked egg thing that the guy comes out of, right?
Yeah, the blue mushroom,
Building the
the blue
build.
onion.
Well, no, building her Sonic, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, I love that
I
scene.
didn't understand what was going on because suddenly she just grabs a crystal from somewhere. And it's not till later in the episode that you realize that this crystal is from the control panel of whatever the hell this thing is that looks like a fucking blue garlic bulb.
She wasn't building a lightsaber, but the Sonic might as well be like the lightsaber in this in some ways with the lore that we're looking on. So, anyways, let's not. Like, all I want to say. Okay, so the TARDIS being lost again. Spoilers. They're really dragging out the appearance because it's been spoiled. It's on a certain website that we have seen the interior, and they're really. I was worried at first they were going to do another John Pertwee thing, the Third Doctor, where he doesn't have his TARDIS for, and then she has to, and then the TARDIS comes in later. I would be disappointed, but I think this is a let's find the TARDIS chase kind of thing because they said it wasn't going to have any arcs, but I think that's sort of I think for a few episodes we're gonna get that. Maybe 2 or 3. I don't know. What do you think?
I honestly think that it would be hilarious for the TARDIS to be the subversion of all the haters.
We've already seen what it looks like on the inside.
Well, no, not it's not even that. I would love the explanation, and we've had this discussion. I would love for the explanation to be the reason she was thrown from the TARDIS is because the TARDIS doesn't like that she's a woman. I think that would be absolutely hilarious from the perspective of we've seen that the TARDIS itself presents as female, but we've never actually talked about the TARDIS's sexual preference of the Doctor.
Well,
So
we just
she's
look at
like,
it like
"You're female. Get out of here."
you know what's funny? At first, I said something to you, and I was joking around with you on one of the groups that we are part of.
Uh
But
huh.
now that I think about it, if you look at it from a dog, female dogs don't like other female dogs. They would rather have a male. It's actually a thing.
I
It's an
just, I,
actual truth. It's not like
oh yeah.
could that be could that be part of his thought process? I mean, not to be
I
funny, but
mean,
it's like
no, like I said, I think that would be hilarious. The hilarious way to subvert the fans, because then suddenly you have Jodie boarding the TARDIS wherever they find it, and then a hologram of that lady version of the TARDIS shows up, and she rags on Jodie and actively tries to subvert Jodie running the TARDIS, but she quotes the Doctor meets Doctor line. You changed your desktop. I don't like it.
but it's kind of funny. A lot of people will say they're already on the bandwagon of rightfully so of this whole situation. But I mean, when I think about the fact of how you compare the TARDIS to the Doctor, whether it's like a pet, it actually makes sense because it's real life truth. It's not made up. A dog does not. I'm not saying it's the TARDIS is a dog, but a dog, for example, if they're looking at it from that point of view, a dog does not like competition. They don't want a another dog, a female, in the house. They would rather it be a male because they look at it like competition. So I'm not saying that you're right, but what I'm saying is if that's true, if that's why it happened, it doesn't mean it's like an anti-feminist thing. It could be just funny. They're just trying to be funny and looking at it like from
Well,
that
I mean,
perspective.
like I said, it's a subversion to all the people who
The
hate that
expectation.
Jodie. No, it's a subversion to all the people who hate, who without seeing the new season hate Doctor Who because Jodie Whittaker is a woman. It is a way
And
to subvert all of those people who hate that Jodie Whittaker is the Doctor by poking fun at them through the TARDIS.
well, we'll have to see what happens. The TARDIS did explode, as in the final scene with
Yeah.
Capaldi. So I mean, when she's falling. Oh, and by the way, for the people who it's never been brought up that I've seen, but for everybody, again, spoilers. If everybody's wondering how Jodie survived falling from that far, so did David Tennant. And you have to remember, they've already set up the precedent that within the first 36 hours of regeneration, and you saw her on the couch, uh, Ryan and his mom's couch, that she was regenerating. Like, and it was implied that what she said was she was rehealing
She
from falling. They're
she's
constantly like,
she
she's
spit up
feral.
she spit up something like she was from the Green Mile.
Oh yeah, but I mean, but they. I thought they were going to make us. When I first saw that scene when she regenerated and she fell out of the TARDIS. I thought something was going to intercept her or something was going to. Nope, she actually fell all the way to the ground and she went right through a train. So I'm like, okay. But then I thought about it when I'm watching the episode. And I'm like, actually, so did David Tennant in his last episode. He did the same thing, almost the same distance. But when she was in the middle of regenerating, like you have 36 hours, so the regeneration energy is continuously healing you. So yes, you can. I can see that as a good canon reason why she didn't die again.
I mean, as long as it didn't kill her, she's still alive. Remember
Yeah,
that was the whole point of the river killing Matt Smith was that she had to wind up having to shoot him twice, one to make him regenerate, and then two to kill him.
yeah. Well, that was as it turned out, that was a fake or robot thing, anyways.
Well,
But
yeah,
yeah,
but that logic still applies to a doctor. The only way to
it
kill
has
them
also
off
been
is to kill them
reapplied in a
while they're
couple of
regenerating.
episodes. Yeah, there was the alternate Earth version of the Donna episode, Turn Left. Yeah, Turn Left. When Rose asked her what was going, and then the unit had found the doctor's dead body, and they said it happened too quickly for him to regenerate. There are circumstances where they can't regenerate. They keep changing the rules when it comes to regeneration. Like if it happens too quickly, if it happens too rapidly, and but the one thing that was consistent was David Tennant said in his first episode, or the Christmas special, the Christmas Invasion, he was able to regrow his hand because he said it was within the first 30. I think he said 36 hours of the regeneration. So he had the energy
Yeah.
to regrow his hand. So that's why when Jodi fell, and they never explained it, that she could fall all the way from the almost the lower atmosphere into a train and still be okay. She was in the middle of still regenerating. So to me, I didn't need an explanation. That was fine because for me that worked. But I was worried about it, I'll admit, over the last summer, winter.
I'm not worried
So,
about it. They wouldn't have killed her off so soon.
anyways, I want to keep this up. This is just a sort of reaction.
Can
So
can
we've talked.
okay? I've had this joke rattling around in my head all day, and I've never been able to like just because one, I myself can't like parse it out into a sentence that is a joke. But okay, she kept calling the Tooth Fairy dude Tim Shaw, right? And the only thing going through my head that whole time was, I wonder if we're going to get to meet his brother, Rick Shaw, and I wonder what kind of car he has.
Yeah. All right. Well, anyways, so yeah, we both seem to enjoy it. We're going to talk about this episode again with the regular hosts sometime in our next episode. But Son and I wanted to sort of just react because there's a lot. This is a big event, so yeah, this I liked it. I'm going to give it. If I have to say out of 10, I'm going to give it 9 point. No, I'm going to give it a 10. What do you think?
I see.
No, no, no.
I'm
Wait. 9.5 because they didn't include the title thing in the title intro, and
yeah.
that's the thing. And if they had included the title intro, I would give it a 10.
Okay. I do not have enough wherewithal to start rating season episodes at the moment because look, I'm just still hung up on the I thought Torchwood was going to show up. What? Portion of this episode, and it really makes me go, I need another episode or two before I can judge whether or not I'm going to like this or not.
They appear to be moving off worlds from this one, so if you haven't seen the teaser for next episode,
I
so
have.
I think they're gonna take a while before they
I,
get
I'm
started.
definitely, yeah, no, I'm definitely going to see the next couple of episodes before I can officially give this season a yay or nay for me. But
And
I
there's
can
only
tell you with 100% certainty that the acting is brilliant.
Yes,
I
and I
enjoyed the
do like
acting
the
across the
style
board.
that Chibnall is doing so far. So far,
What was the dude with the what? Okay, what was the issue with the dude who was tossing a salad at the Tooth Fairy man? Uh,
I thought that was funny. Oh, you know
I
what?
just
Okay,
like
you
what
just
the
remind me.
fuck?
Before we go, I want to mention one thing. One of my favorite things about this episode was the dude who was like Stuart Smiley. He was like, I'm good enough. And I'm special. He was like the
And he's
British
the
Stuart
he's the
Smiley.
he's
And he was like,
he's the
even
target
his
the whole
last
thing.
line was, I told you I was special. And she was like, you had no right to do that. And he was just like, what? You just kept saying and you agreed that I was special because I kicked him off the platform when he was trying to kill me. You're telling me I'm not? I mean, he was awesome because he reminded. I hope he comes back. I really do. Because he all through the episode, I'm good. I'm special. I'm smart. And I'm like, dude, that's Stuart Smiley if he was on Doctor Who. It was crazy. I was like, that's so funny.
Of
But
course,
nobody's going to
we
get
didn't.
this.
Well, we didn't see him again until like half the episode in, though.
And he kept saying it. I'm special. And she's like, yes, you are. You can jump. And he couldn't do it. And then
Yeah, because the no confidence man listening to the self help tapes.
the
That's the whole
alien's
point.
like, he's nothing. I'm going to kill him. And he's like, no, I'm not. I'm special. He was even then, in the face of death, he was like,
Well,
I'm
let's be
special.
honest. He was special. He was literally the target.
Yeah. I just loved it because he kept doing the affirmations. He was just like, I'm special. I'm confident. I'm intelligent. And I'm just like, and then he's telling the doctor, I'm special. And she's like, yeah, you are. Now come jump and save your life. And he's just like, okay. And then he fails. And then even after he actually helped kill the alien, well, he didn't really kill him because he ended up teleporting. He's
No,
like,
no, no. Jody killed the alien.
he's not even dead though. He hit the teleport.
He hit the teleport, but he's still literally got 5 bombs in him that is
We don't know
disintegrating his
though. I have a
DNA.
feeling he might come back.
It's
Even though they
disintegrating
said there's
his
no arcs.
DNA.
Yeah, even though they said there's no arcs this season, I have a feeling he's coming back.
It is literally disintegrating his DNA. You don't just stop that with the teleport.
But because they didn't show it on screen, you know that you know you know what they're doing. They're setting it up as a future villain. But here's the thing: I just love that guy. He was just I'm special. I loved it. He was like Stuart Smiley, except without a sweater, and just put him on Doctor Who and have him work a crane, and he's just and I'm also a bus operator. Whatever.
That
A
was
train
Graham.
operator. Sorry, train operator. I
What
just
the,
thought it
what
was
the,
funny.
oh, wait, what train operator?
I'm special, and people like me, and it just reminded me of when he's looking
Cr-
in the mirror and doing that. So if anybody is listening to this episode after
no,
I air it,
no, he was a crane operator, not a
oh
train
yeah,
operator. He
well,
was a
oh no,
he
you're
was
right,
a
you're right, you're right.
he was a crane operator afraid of heights.
I have to when I link this episode, I'm going to add one of these. It wasn't Saturday Night Live, it was Mad TV, and I'm going to air it because because this was him. It was Stuart Smiley on Doctor Who, completely 100%, and I thought it was hilarious. He's just like, I'm special. I believe in myself. I'm awesome. Like that would be. It was just so funny. He was not a victim. He was, but he wasn't. Affirmations, daily
He,
affirmations. If the
he,
doctor's helping you,
he was the damsel in distress.
yeah. And I love that scene where she jumps onto the crane and she's like, "My legs used to be so much longer." They probably were, because
Capaldi?
or
Yeah,
Matt Smith
Capaldi is a very tall man.
could be. Yeah, that's true. All right. So, anyways, yeah, let's call it there as far because I think we've said enough. This episode, if you guys haven't seen it, yeah, if you haven't seen it and you listen to all this, you just got spoiled. If you didn't care, that's fine. But I have a feeling you're just looking for the reaction. So we're going to talk about this again with other people soon. But son, I want to thank you for joining for this immediate, just sort of quick reaction to what happened tonight. Where can people find you on social media?
You can find me posting the stuff that I've been in on Facebook.com/SunsealFan. That's SUNSEAHL. Or oh god, no, my head is spinning. So sorry. I
I'll
just took a
spell it out.
drink of something and my head is spinning. SUNSEAHLFAN. There you go. All one word.
All right. And as usual, I'm George. You can find me, well, here when I post it, so that's good enough. All right, I want to thank Son for joining me for this immediate reaction to the new episode of Doctor Who, Season
And thank
11,
you for
Jodi
River
Whittaker.
Song for our opening.
Yes, Riverson. Thank you for joining us. I don't know how you did it because you're like in and out of space and time.
Well,
You
she's
got
in a
your own.
library. Like she's in a library with the best Wi-Fi ever. So
That's true. All right. All right. So guys, keep watching Doctor Who and checking us out because we will talk about this throughout the year. Well, for the next 10 weeks, anyways. And we'll talk to you next time.